Ah, regret that gut-punching feeling that hits you like a brick right when you thought you were right. Who hasn't been there? That classic moment when you realize she thought she was the star, the one who would never mess up. But in a better late than never twist, life slaps her in the face, showing her that the best thing she ever had was the very thing she let slip away. It's like a late epiphany, a bittersweet moment, but with that sour note of what's done is done. Now the void you left behind? Yeah, there's no substitute for that. Sure, suitors and friends might line up, but none will ever shine like you did. When she finally understands that the hole you left is impossible to fill, regret comes crashing in like a runaway truck at dawn. Because in the end, the weight of "I realized too late" is relentless, and she, who once underestimated what she had, now finds herself trapped in nostalgia for what she let go, be it out of pride or sheer distraction. So, grab yourself a coffee, some popcorn, or whatever you fancy, and enjoy the show. This is the spectacle of regret in all its glory. She messed up, she lost, and now it's time for her to face the consequences. Number 1. That moment of realization hits like a punch in the face. Ah, the glorious, painful epiphany. There's nothing quite as satisfying as watching someone come to grips with the weight of their mistake and realize just how badly they messed up. To her, you were like a convenient piece of furniture, always there, waiting, half ignored, maybe even underestimated. But the show really started when you decided to lift your head, move on, and leave that dramatic saga behind. Did you expect her to show up on a white horse? Not a chance. And that's when the light bulb goes off. No anesthesia. At that moment, she understands that crying, chasing after you, or reciting self-help books is pointless. No pharmacy full of antidepressants can wipe away the sticky regret that now floods her mind. Maybe too late, she realizes that "see you later" was really a goodbye with no return. And there's no cure for the slimy fear consuming her, the feeling that the last chance has slipped away. Suddenly, the one who thought she was the queen of the relationship finds herself like an old, discarded shoe in the closet, watching what she lost pass her by. The fall is brutal, the kind that echoes from the top to the ground in the blink of an eye. It's the kind of shock that hurts and leaves a bitter taste for someone who thought they were irreplaceable. It's like falling from the sky without a parachute and realizing too late that by closing the door, she let go of the best thing she had. Number 2, comparisons are dangerous, and you win without even trying. After the breakup, the inevitable starts. The comparison phase. She might never admit it, but internally that process kicks in. Why? Because while she tries to fill the void, her mind clings to the idea that everything can be replaced. That faulty logic leads her to attempt what some call substitution, a quick replacement, someone to fill the space you left. It's that notion of swapping out a part as if you were disposable, worth no more than the role you played in her life. First, she tries finding someone who gives her the same attention, that someone she can share with and who makes her feel important. But soon she realizes that the guy she chose isn't the same. As she tries to convince herself that this new someone is the answer, every little thing reminds her of you, of how you gave her the security she now struggles to find. Instead of feeling comfortable, that comparison starts gnawing at her thoughts every time she looks at her substitute. Because guess what? The version she picked doesn't even come close. That new someone might have some charm, but he quickly lacks what you brought to the relationship. Every empty conversation, every forced smile, and every dull plan highlight the differences. She tries to make this guy the one, but something inside her keeps reminding her that with you, things had weight and depth. There's no way to force something that simply isn't there. In this process, she starts to realize, painful as it is to admit, that what you offered was unique, something that can't be bought or found just anywhere. That quality you had, the way you cared, the little things you did for her, doesn't come in a standard package. It's one of those limited editions, and now every moment with this new person becomes a painful reminder of what she lost. As she compares, reality becomes clear. It's not about finding someone similar, but acknowledging that she lost something irreplaceable. And that's where regret begins to creep in even deeper. Every time she tries to convince herself that this new person can fill the void, all she manages to do is deepen the wound. Because now she knows that what you offered can't be found in anyone else. It's that bitter detail, that inevitable comparison that follows her in every encounter and every forced smile. No matter how hard she tries to ignore it, every little moment underscores the difference. The result? A cycle of dissatisfaction and disappointment. She created herself. Life taught her a brutal lesson. Some people are unique, and you, without even trying, beat her at this comparison game. Number 3. Pride, the poison. She chose to drink herself. Now we reach the most entertaining chapter of this story. Pride. Yep, her pride is so immense that admitting she messed up would be asking too much. Is she going to come after you? Not a chance. She'd rather walk on hot coals than own up to her mistake. This is the point where she realizes the mess, but instead of acting, she chooses to cling to her pride. This theater of, I'm not going to lower myself, is epic self-sabotage, the classic mental torture she willingly chooses. She's stuck, replaying her mistake day after day, wanting to move forward, but unable to leave the past behind. Funny, right? She tries to convince herself that it was for the best. But deep down, she knows she's the one who truly lost. So she's trapped in an endless loop, wanting to turn back time, but with a gigantic ego telling her no way. It's a self-imposed prison, an emotional cycle that, from the outside looking in, almost brings a bit of satisfaction. Because at the end of the day, she's stuck, unable to go back or move forward. And you're far removed from all that, just watching the show. If you're tired of being the fool she wipes her feet on, the one who accepts any scraps and still gets kicked to the curb when she pleases, then wake up. It's time to stop swallowing disrespect and change this dirty game. Check out the description and grab the ebook I left for you. After reading it, you'll learn to be a real challenge, to never lower your head again, and to put any woman in her place without mercy. No more being trampled and discarded like a useless piece of trash. If you want respect, then start acting like a man who demands it. Number 4. Loneliness is a cruel yet deserved companion. Loneliness. That faithful companion that once it arrives, doesn't leave until you've learned the whole lesson. In this 4th stage, there's no one left around to fill the space you occupied. No matter how many people she tries to have by her side, how many messages she receives, or how many new faces she tries to entertain herself with, loneliness becomes her only true companion, a shadow that follows every step and whispers in every moment of silence what she lost. And in this case, loneliness isn't just about being physically alone, it's about that emptiness that arises when you realize no one is there with the same sincerity and depth. Suddenly, what used to be routine like good morning texts or genuine interest in her well-being turns into painful memories, like little thorns pricking her heart every time she looks at her phone, instinctively hoping you're the one on the other end. At this stage, she realizes that no matter how many people surround her, none of them care about her life in the way you did. Every new face, every new conversation makes her understand that those superficial connections aren't enough and that what you offered was something beyond mere passing company. No one is willing to listen to her, support her, or give her that unreserved attention that you at one time provided. So, loneliness becomes a constant echo, reminding her of everything she had, and by her own choice, let slip away. Now, moments that were once shared and full of meaning have turned into voids. At night, when she finds herself alone, that echo grows even stronger, like a sad song she can't silence. The memories of what she lost take hold of her, and those once insignificant moments they shared now become almost priceless in her memory. It's in that solitude that she begins to understand the irony of it all. Those little moments, those everyday conversations, even those small arguments were what made her life feel complete. Now, even when surrounded by people, that emptiness remains, and she realizes that no one truly knows her, that the laughter and words she receives are just an illusion compared to what you two shared. So, while she tries to fill that void with outings, new people, or distractions, loneliness digs in deeper, reminding her that what you offered can't be achieved superficially. Because here's the truth. You were the only one who made her feel whole, and she let it go thinking she could easily replace it. But no, loneliness doesn't abandon her, and it reminds her in every moment of introspection that she lost something unique, something that won't return, and now all she can do is live with that bitter truth. Number 5. The pathetic attempts at reconciliation. But darling, that ship has sailed. And now we reach the final act, the most comedic and predictable part, the desperate attempts at reconciliation. Because, of course, after going through the previous stages and realizing that the new you isn't falling for her, panic sets in. Suddenly she tries to reach out, drops hints, rehearses a triumphant return. But you know what she finds? A completely transformed you. Time has passed, and the version she once knew no longer exists. You've evolved, matured, and honestly, you've become someone who would never accept that situation again. Reality hits hard. That foolish hope of reviving the past was a shot in the dark. She realizes it's too late, and you're not going to fall for that theater of regret. If she could turn back time, she would give anything, and here's the kicker, life isn't a sci-fi movie. Every choice has a price, and hers was steep. In the end, all that's left is for her to face the harsh truth. She lost, and it was her fault. Every action has its consequences, and some are final. In the end, the bitter acceptance of an irreparable mistake. And we reach the last act, that moment when she finally realizes the opportunity is gone, and surprise, she was the one who let it slip away. She'll try to convince herself that it's for the best, but we both know that acceptance comes with the bitter taste of, it could have been different. Ironically, she'll never admit out loud that she lost something valuable, not in 1,000 years. Her pride will keep the pain hidden, transforming it into a sting she feels every time she remembers you. Deep down, she knows this is the end, that the opportunity won't return, and it's a lesson to remember for life. Maybe she pretends she's learned something, that now she knows what's worth it. But this lesson came too late for you. The torture of regret is a constant presence, a reminder of a mistake she'll never be able to fix. If this experience has any value, it will only be to avoid repeating the same mistake with someone else in the future, and nothing more. As they say, life goes in circles. Those who can't appreciate the present lose forever, and all that's left is the weight of living with the consequences. So keep moving forward without looking back, knowing that those who only see value after losing something probably never deserve to have it. If you enjoyed this video and want more unfiltered doses of reality about relationships, drop us a comment and share it with that friend who needs to hear some truths. Because nothing beats a good reality check now and then, right?